Okay, guys, we are here with my Aunt Shirley once again. This will be our third interview, and we're going to let Daisy say hello, Daisy.
Hello.
There's Daisy, and there's Gracie. All right, cousins. So they're going to be interviewing Aunt Shirley today, and this will be a special interview because Mother's Day is tomorrow, and I just thought it'd be a good idea to hear from someone who has been a mom for a very, very long time, and has seen many kids in her lifetime. So, you girls excited?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, when you ask your question, speak loud and clear so everybody can hear, and give Aunt Shirley enough time to answer. Okay? Are you ready? All right. Well, here we go. Jaden, you can start off.
You have had another birthday since we last talked.
Yes, I did. And I'm fixing to have another birthday in a few more days. On the 16th. And today is the
What is today?
13th.
13th.
Tomorrow's the 14th.
So, how old will you be then if
I'll
not
be
two?
83.
83. Okay.
I never thought I would live this long, but
Well,
here
there you
I
go.
am.
There you are. Speak up a little bit more, Gracie.
Mother's Day is tomorrow. Is that something you look forward to?
In a way I do, and in a way I don't. I miss my mom. She's been gone for several years, and she was a good mom. But then I look around at everybody else that has their moms and watch them, how they go about celebrating and how happy they are with that they still have their mother, and they need to really appreciate their mother because you never know when she might not be here. So we need to appreciate our moms while we have them. Especially in this day and time when the government is trying to tell you to say he and she and they and them. Use pronouns instead of mom, dad,
Yeah.
brother, sister, grandmother, grandfather. I don't believe in it, and I'll never do it.
I hear you on that one. You got something else, Jaden?
We need to give them respect, don't we?
Yes.
Did you celebrate Mother's Day when you were growing up?
I don't think so, because it wasn't a holiday when I was growing up. And but we always would do little things for Mom. Different ways of doing. Me and my sisters and my brother, we do different things to show her that we loved her.
What was your mother's favorite thing to do?
Speak up again, honey. Hey, speak up a little bit louder, Jalen.
What was your mother's favorite thing to do?
There you
Canning. She loved to can.
go. I remember those green bean cans and hot chow chow and all that stuff. I remember that.
Yeah.
So canning,
I miss that too.
yeah. You got another question, Jalen? Okay.
What would your mother say about the world today?
Oh my. She would not believe it. She would think she was dreaming or something.
Maybe in a nightmare.
Or, yeah, nightmare.
What were some of the things you remember as a kid your mom did for you?
Well, I guess canning different things that we liked. She'd ask us what we wanted her to can. And Mom, she didn't do a whole lot of little things like mothers do today, but she was always there for us.
Did she ever fix your hair up like these girls do and all that kind of stuff? Or
No.
not too much of
No.
that? Wasn't a lot of that because everybody had to work hard and all that. Just didn't do a lot of that, did they?
We was just very independent kids and we did it ourselves.
Yeah.
Because Mom worked.
Right.
And then when she had extra time, she was canning or doing something. Mom was always doing something, just like Grandma. Always doing something.
What do you think is the most difficult thing to do as a mom?
Correcting the kids when they were bad.
I think it would be having to birth them, first of all.
Well,
That's a lot of pain.
well, you don't know about that, but yeah, it is. I've heard. I don't know about it either, but I've heard that
Of
would.
course you don't.
Hey, I know, but the thing is, every mom that I've ever met said yes, that was painful, but
It was
the
worth
child
it.
coming forth was worth all that kind of
You
pain.
forget it.
You forget all about that kind, don't you?
No,
I mean, I don't know from experience, but I'm just saying I've heard
no,
that.
you forget it.
Do you ever worry about your kids?
Not so much now as I used to. I've learned to put them in God's hand, that He will protect them and take care of them. And they turned out to be pretty good kids too. I'm proud of my kids.
That was the last question.
That was your last question? All right, well, I've got a couple more. Okay, Aunt Shirley, what are 2 things that you hope for your kids? Now, before you answer that, your kids are just a couple years younger than me, and some are a couple years older than me. So I say kids because they'll always be your kids. It doesn't matter how old they get. So even at that age, and you still being their mom, 2 things, if you could hope for them today, what would those 2 things be?
To live a good life for the Lord, and to ask Him to come into their life and be their Savior and Lord of the life.
So you can round that up as 2, unless there's something else you want to.
Just to always do the right thing in anything that they try to do. Just to always do the right thing.
Okay. Do you have a question?
I have one more question. It's not my paper, but I just thought of it.
All
Can I
right.
ask her?
Well, you're putting her on the spot. All right, go ahead. I think she can handle it.
How old are you when you had your first child?
20 years old.
Oh.
There you go. And that would have been Miss Debbie?
Yeah, Debbie.
That's right. Debbie's the oldest child. Okay. Well, what advice do you have for a mother that is married to a husband?
To a man.
To a man. Yes.
It takes a dad and mom both to raise a child, and they need both dad and mom to grow up and be what God would have them to be.
So for the advice for the mother would be what?
Just pray about everything and do the best that you can
Okay.
in raising your child.
And what advice do you have? Now, this is an epidemic in the world. What advice do you have for single mothers without a husband, and it's just them trying to raise? They're in terrible situations. It's just a single mom trying to raise 1, 2, 3, 4 kids because they were in relationships that maybe wasn't the best thing. And it turns out that now she's carrying the load of being a mom, being a dad, being a provider, being all the things that, and it's all just put on her. What kind of advice would you give that kind of mother?
Well, first of all, you're not going God's way. You're not doing His word, keeping His commandments, and therefore that's why young married women are in the situations they're in, why they're having a hard time. If you would do like God says in His word, get married first and then have your family, everything will work out.
And you're still going to have problems married, yes. So it's not exclusively perfect. We know that, but it does get simpler when the two become one and they're both seeking God. So knowing that, and I know a lot because of the ministry that I've been in, there's a lot of single women out there that are kind of stuck in a situation. So they're stuck in this situation and they're still trying to raise their kids the best they can. So for a young lady or even an older lady that's in that situation, what advice would you give her? She can't change her past. And we know God forgives sins and He forgives our past when we come to Him, that sort of thing. Let's just say a young woman, she's a Christian now, but she still has the same circumstance, trying to raise 3 kids by herself or maybe just one child, working. What advice would you give that young woman?
Pray that God would send you a good Christian husband.
It has to be a man.
It has to be a man.
And so
God wants a man and a woman to get married.
That's good. Okay, so let's say she's working through and she still don't have no husband yet. What road would you suggest for her to follow in bearing long in this? Maybe God's raising someone up. We don't know. But until that happens, what would you advise her to do?
Pray and ask God to help you.
Help her in
every situation.
every situation.
Every problem.
So basically, it's just lean on God.
Yes.
Trust in Him and
Trust in
everything.
Him.
And that kind of
He
thing.
has the answer.
Because there's a lot out there. There's a lot of, and it's not just single moms, it's single dads
Single
out there
dads,
too.
too.
And so it's a terrible situation that we're in
See,
today.
that's what Satan has done.
Yeah,
Destroyed the family.
right. Well, I want to close this out with this, and since you brought that up, I didn't think. Okay, well, Shirley, I'm going to close this video out, and you did touch on something about the marriage covenant thing there. But just like you said, it's in the book of Genesis where God created Adam, created man. And he told the man, and he created a male and female, and he told them to replenish the earth, to be fruitful and multiply. And that was where he is instituting the covenant of marriage between a man and a woman. Well, we find Adam in a garden. God had told Adam, he gave him his word, he spoke to Adam his word, the commandment, you can eat from every tree, but not this one. So he gave him his word, and now God gave Adam a job, and his job was to tend to the garden and to name everything that God created. That would include the animals, the trees, the fruit, everything that God had made, everything. So that was his job. Yeah, so Adam had a job to do. Well, Adam looked around and saw that it was just him. Only one that was like him. So God said it wasn't good for man to be by himself. So he caused Adam to go to sleep. And then while he was asleep, God took from his side and made a woman from Adam. Okay, so Adam is back out in the garden on the job. And a woman who had not yet been named yet is walking up and introduced to Adam. Adam sees the woman and he calls her woman first time. And it's very important that we see that, because the woman, who is later named Eve, which means the mother of all living. Okay, her name literally means mother. She is the mother. That's when motherhood was instituted, right there in the garden. Okay, so that's what I wanted to get to. Motherhood started way back in Genesis chapter 2. So it's very important, and we're told all the way through Scripture that the reason the institution is set there, just like Shirley said, it becomes more difficult when we go beyond the boundaries that God has set for us, that a man will take a wife to be his helper, to be his helpmeet, not for him to lord over her in any particular way where he sets himself above her, but they work in unison together toward one goal. And as they work toward this goal, God will bless them in that, because they honored the marriage. And it's very important that we see that today, because only a woman can be a mother, and only a man can be a father. Right? Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
What are you smiling about?
No.
Are you eating candy?
No, we're eating chips.
Oh, are you eating chips?
We're eating Lay's, not sponsored.
Oh, we're not sponsored by Lay's.
No, that's why I said not sponsored.
That's right. Well, look.
This video is sponsored by Lay's.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Not sponsored.
Okay. All right. Now we're being silly. Well, listen. Happy Mother's Day, Aunt Shirley. You know, I was thinking about doing this yesterday. I was just cleaning the chicken coop, and I was walking into the house, and Gracie was there at the table. I said, let's go shoot a video, since we're going down to see Cousin Daisy anyway, and be able to talk to you. And I was thinking about my mom, my own mom. Now, my mom passed away in 1990. So that's been a long time, 33 years. She was 47 years old, very young. And I remember something. I was thinking about my mom 10 years before she died. I walked into the hospital, went on an elevator, and I was told the week before that my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And I remember this as if it was yesterday. But I remember getting off the elevator and coming out of the elevator, and they had wheeled my mom in a wheelchair. And I looked at my mom. She was frail. Her skin had turned brown. She had weighed very little. She looked really pathetic in the sense of her flesh. And I remember seeing her come in that wheelchair being pushed, and remember seeing her that way, and somehow, some way, she managed to smile. She saw me and she smiled. And when she smiled, my heart just caved. I couldn't believe this was my mom. Because I hadn't seen her in about a year or so. Because she was living in North Carolina at the time, and I'd moved back to Tennessee. But I'll never forget that, coming off of that elevator, seeing her in pain and still able to smile at me. So I was thinking about that, and I thought how much better of a son I could have been had I known the things I know today. Not that I was a bad son, but that the time that I did have with her, the things I could have done for her to help her, and it's not condemnation, but it's a sense of regret in a way that I didn't take advantage of the time that I did have her. Now she beat cancer for 10 years after that. She lived 10 years longer. And I also remember another thing as if it was yesterday. When she was dying in the hospital, this was her last day. I was married at the time. I was married at the time, and I remember sitting there at her bed, and she prophesied something over me. And she said, Billy, she said, you're going to have a daughter, and she's going to have the brightest blue eyes you've ever seen. Well, my wife wasn't pregnant, so I'm not going to say I pushed that to the side, but I never forgot it. The following year, my daughter was born, a bright-eyed, blue-eyed child.
My mother.
That's right.
She
So-
has pretty blue eyes.
She does.
Except I have green eyes.
Yeah. But she's got pretty blue eyes, just like Mamaw Daisy
Now,
said.
Daisy would be so proud of you, Billy.
Well, it just made me think, as a young boy, or even an adult man, even I think when she died, I was, well, let's see, 33 years ago, so I was old enough, I was an adult in my 20s, and I just thought, man, for those who have their mothers still today, to take advantage of every opportunity they have to spend with her, because you never outgrow your mom, because she's always your mom.
She's your best friend
So
on earth.
I just thought about that, and so I try not to get all tore up about that, but it just reminded me how precious time is today, and those that we love in our families, but especially on Mother's Day. So we definitely need to celebrate, and I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk with you a little bit, and we'll have to take that bottle away from Daisy, because she's popping all over the place.
Yeah, there.
Hey Daisy, thank you for asking the questions, and Jalen, thank you.
You're welcome. For taking the bottle away.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I hope y'all have a wonderful Mother's Day. Make sure you give Mom a hug, and we will see you again on the next video.
And don't forget, this video is sponsored by Lay's.
No, it's not.
No, it's
You
not.
can't say that,
It's
because
not.
Lay's is going to be wanting
Not sponsored.
to talk to us. No, they won't.
Not sponsored.
Our channel is not big enough for that business. But anyway, anything to say? Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
All right, see ya.
Subscribe.